Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Brandon here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guests are Sam and Alexander, who are selling their Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Sam and Alexander, and how are you guys doing today?
Very well, thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's really great to have you both on the call today and to talk about this business that you've created. But before we dive into, the backstory and how you started it, I'm just going to give a quick overview of the business itself. So it is an Amazon FBA business in the beauty niche, and it was created in March 2015. The average monthly revenue for the business is $22,807 and makes an average of $6,245 per month in net profits. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 50156 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, what is included in the sale is the Amazon Seller Central account with 7 SKUs, a domain with all site content and files, an additional domain used as a 301 redirect, trademarks, social media accounts for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And it is worth noting that inventory is not normally included in the list price, and further details can be provided to active buyers. So Sam and Alexander, can you tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you got started in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. So the partner set up the business a little under 6 years ago, and he kind of had 2 goals in mind. He wanted to deliver a straightforward, cheap, and effective product to market, and he wanted to be able to build a brand around that. And so he launched into the beauty category 6 years ago. And a lot part of the first attention was just building the product, making sure it's cost effective and it was enjoyed by the consumers and of high quality as well. Essentially been working on Amazon to get our maximum exposure across all the international marketplaces. We're now currently selling in Canada, the US, the UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. There's some sales now coming through in the new Swedish market. So it's really been a journey of finding the right product, sourcing it at a cost-effective price. And I think that's probably one of the business's best strengths is its profitability. And since then, it's then the case of the value-add elements in terms of making sure all of our translations are perfect for the EU markets, making sure our imagery in A+ and branding is right, making sure our kind of PDFs we send out to the customers all have the right information. So really kind of working through that user customer experience, kind of like building on this social proof of reviews that we built up. Doing things like videos as well is one thing that we've been really excited to launch and roll out recently.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you've already kind of have an established brand that you're growing in these international markets. Now, how did you guys get the idea to start with these particular products? Was it already something you were dabbling with prior to this business getting started, or was this a brand new business model that you were going after?
So we're used to the e-commerce model previously, kind of Google, a website and Shopify, etc. The kind of general trends were all moving towards Amazon. And so we wanted to find a model and a product that was right for Amazon. We wanted to go into the beauty niche. The partner had a lot of experience in the beauty niche and also our contacts, relationships and manufacturing contacts in China. This is what they were able to produce high, top quality, low cost products for as well. So to an extent, it was for Amazon that we wanted to launch within the beauty category, but also reverse engineering from the point of where can we find cost-effective, high-quality products, and then delivering that to the market as the outcome.
Got it. So now, because you are selling in multiple international markets, and this is an Amazon FBA business, which market would you say is generating the most revenue for the business at this time?
So it's the UK-based, calling now in from London. So this is our home market and our number 1 lead revenue market. And then our second biggest market is actually Canada. UK followed by Canada, with the EU seeing growth now come through with all the structural elements in place, with all the European VAT complete, everything in place, the stocks there on the Pan-EU program. So this is an area that we really kind of want to drive. We've been focusing on for the last 6 to 9 months. And I'd say the next key thing on the list is to drive sales in the US, the biggest Amazon market by some margin. similar comparative products are doing excellent out there. We're more cost effective than them, selling at a lower price and what we believe is a better product as well. But in terms of the sequence of priorities, we just haven't got around to the US yet. So the UK is the best market, then Canada, the EU all set up and growing, with the US kind of in the eye line to then launch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see that you've already kind of established the direction that you're going to be taking with this business, especially for potential buyers that are looking to see what they can do to scale this business. You've already kind of laid that route out for them. So that's always great to see. Now, if the business is doing so well at this time, Sam and Alex, why is it that you've decided that you both want to sell the business now?
Sure, it's a good question. So we actually had a very long conversation about this towards the back end of last year, October, November, and essentially mapped out what do those both options look like? What does selling look like? And also what would growth look like? So we mapped out what would continuing the business look like. Because the two top priorities there would be pursue the US launch, develop that should be our number one market, and it's currently kind of third, fourth, and then launch new products. And I had ideas within the beauty range that we've got this highly profitable kind of cash cow product that we're selling. It's not cash hungry. We don't need to, the COGS are so low that it doesn't constantly require reorders, catching up on yourself that way. So we've got this profit stream with cash cow product to launch new products off and use that as the foundation to build out a brand and a portfolio. And then on the other side of the card was the opportunity. This partner wants to set up his own digital personal training platform. It's been kind of a passion of his for a long time now. And he's really enjoyed the journey of Amazon. We kind of all got together and said that this opportunity to sell would then allow us to free up the capital to be able to then pursue another entrepreneurial pursuit. Kind of tossed and turned between those two options and eventually came down on the decision to sell the business in order to, like I say, free up some capital and then pursue this kind of personal training platform pursuit.
Yeah, I completely understand. It's very common for most sellers that come to our marketplace that are wanting to, branch into another niche or another type of business model to free up some of that capital to expand into that idea. And now, was there anything that you both learned while growing this business that you plan on applying to future businesses down the road?
Yeah, I'd say that one thing in particular is the consumer experience perspective, that the product inside out. And the product can be effective and high quality, but you've got to make sure that not only are you selling them the physical product, the company and information on how best to use it, get the most out of it comes with it. So this is one thing that we kind of review consumers give you in terms of reviews. We've had some excellent reviews throughout the board. We've now thousands of them attached to the main listing, which is great. But a lot of the negative feedback came through from people saying they didn't know how to use it or using it incorrectly. And so since then, we're kind of putting interim solutions for selling them a PDF that comes with it as well to explain how to use it and the kind of mechanism for doing so. And there's also, I think, opportunity to kind of streamline that and make it more clear and concise, not information overload, essentially put a product in as well when it comes to the product, explain how to use it. So I think kind of a learning perspective, it was a case of sell the product, but you've also got to make sure the information goes with the sale as well so that the end consumer can get the most out of it and make the assumption that they know what you do in terms of how to use the product.
Yeah, that's a very interesting take that you're wanting to, I guess, take the hand of the customer and make sure that they're going step by step through your funnel and not just kind of giving them only a limited amount of information. You're wanting to make sure that they're fully comfortable with the product as well, too. So that's great to see. Now, was there anything that you tried with this business and it just didn't give you the ROI that you were expecting?
Yes. I'd say the Small and Light program was one thing that was quite interesting. So just to kind of give a mini overview of that, in the Small and Light program in the UK, I believe in the US as well, if you're selling a product for under €10 in the EU and £9 in the UK, and you qualify in terms of low weight, low size dimensions as well, you're able to enroll into the Small and Light program. And so this was a great way of saving FBA fees, and suddenly our product that has an incredible margin is just going to have even better margin. And this is excellent, great. Got the product enrolled into Small and Light. Away we go, brilliant. This is really good. We're looking at the product P&Ls, excellent. Everything's driven towards profitability and financials. And then kind of hit by the macro events of kind of COVID and shipping disruptions, etc. And one thing we didn't realise was that when you go onto Small and Light, they're placed into a different section within the Amazon warehouse, which essentially means that even if you're a Prime customer and you're looking to buy products and next day delivery comes, for a Small and Light product, when there's disruptions, this correlates with how quick they can get the product to the consumer. And so it's 5, 6, 7, 8 days till the product came in at certain times when you're on the Small and Light program. And so look to then conversion rate was hit, click-through rate was hit, conversion rate was hit, ranking was then hit as a result. We were dropping down, and it was one of these things that you can push your pursuit and look to try and streamline costs, and it's a good thing to do, but always be hyper aware and monitoring when these things happen. It's still in the arsenal to be able to then enroll back onto small and light. We just switched it back over to normal now. That's absolutely fine to be able to do, and we can chase the margin again. Then you're going to save 10% margin on top. You're going to go from 40 to 50% margin, which is excellent. And then it was just a case of understand and knowing that these macro events actually do filter through into your list and how that works to make sure we're kind of monitoring it on a kind of day by day, week by week basis.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear that you've made all of these extra, taking all these extra steps in, assuring that you're, maybe trying something that might be, some potential with this business. So now, with this actual business model being Amazon FBA, where would you say that a majority of your traffic is coming from? Are you spending a good amount on PPC ads, or is a majority of the traffic coming in through organic search?
Well, I'd say now, in the position that we've got ourselves to, we're Amazon's choice for rank number one. We primarily use ads as a mechanism to maintain that position, maintain Amazon's choice badge, maintain rank one. And largely speaking, if you're ranked at number one and you've got the Amazon choice badge, if you try and capture greater market share, you're essentially eliminating your own sales. And so, as it's a very mature product, like I said, it's been on Amazon for just a little under 6 years now, that largely speaking, our kind of PPC velocity in the UK, in Canada, and some EU markets anyway, it's at maturity phase. And so PPC is very cheap, very low. Curate cost is very low. The majority of our sales come from organic because we've already got to this number one position. We're essentially using ads to either try and capture a wider market share by targeting slightly less relevant keywords with kind of more broad brush approach, or using it to kind of bolster that position and make sure we maintain number one. So it's all very straightforward to us in this current position to do so. And we stayed at number one for a very long time now. For the US, this is something that look to into the future, the future potential of the business. That would say it'd probably be the inverse of that, where you want more concentration on kind of advertising spend over, as opposed to organic revenue, in order to start gaining the traction, gaining market share, gaining rank, and to do so. But in the majority of the markets where our revenue comes from, organic revenues, the majority of sales, and the reason being is that we're Amazon's choice and rank number one.
Yeah, that's really interesting to see that you've taken this other approach on even targeting, maybe less common keywords in order to gain more traffic organically. So that's always nice to see that you've established that. Now, are you doing anything else in terms of other marketing with, like, say, the included domain or even the additional 301 redirected domain as far as marketing on those other channels outside of Amazon?
The short answer on that, no. Social media, we've got the websites, but this is something that's kind of currently not being utilized. This is largely speaking from the background of knowledge all comes in Amazon. We've set up the website, got eBay, got some of the sales coming through, but currently the overwhelming majority, 90% plus, comes from Amazon. And this is just something that we just haven't picked up the mantle and driven yet. So again, this is one of the opportunities forward facing to be able to run with.
Okay. And on that subject, I know you've already mentioned a few other ways that you would try and grow the business, but could you explain maybe what are some other potential, like, hypotheticals if you were to keep this business, some other ways you would try and grow outside of what you've already mentioned?
Markets is the big one. Like you say, the UK and Canada are our largest markets, and that doesn't actually reflect the actual market demand. So the fact that the US isn't our best market is something that doesn't reflect the true position where the business should be. The US should be the number one market, and it's currently not. And likewise, the EU as well. We've got all the infrastructure set up. We're still in the EU already. All the native language translations all complete. It's just something that we need to drive forward. So more kind of true reflection of market breakdown. Definitely be kind of number one on the list. Number two is new products. Kind of got the hero product that's doing the majority of the sales, and various different variations of that product, different colors, comes in a set as well. And to be able to actually build out a brand around that, launch new products with the kind of same philosophy of good margin around that, and you've got this kind of profit stream that coming through to be able to kind of allow you to grow from that foundation. And likewise as well, there's opportunities. Well, the fact that all the infrastructure is there with the website, domain, and eBay, social media, etc. There's a lot to be able to do with that regard.
Yeah, okay. That's really interesting to see. Now, diving a little bit deeper into some hypothetical ways that you would try and grow. And I've noticed there's quite a big gap as far as the revenue for the business at $22K versus the actual profits at $6K per month on average. Now, you said that your cost of goods is pretty low, but I'm curious, so where's the majority of that revenue going once you do finally see that net profits coming into play?
So a lot of that, as I do say, the Empire Flip is a lovely way of doing the P&Ls, the inclusion of the EU accountancy fees. And so our actual product by product P&L is very effective. But within the EU accountancy fees, we have Lara currently being incorporated into that as well. So a lot of the actual business costs all come in as your kind of true take home, not just your Amazon net profit, but your true on Amazon itself is kind of 45%. And then you've included the other costs as well that come with it. But I'd say one of the other components to that is, as I mentioned before, I'm ranking number one and we've got Amazon's choice. And so a lot of our advertising strategy currently right now, pursuit of maintaining that market leader position, using as minimal amount of spend as you can to get there. Prior to this being the new guiding philosophy, as it were, we did try and recapture greater market share. And at first, the issue with that being that you already ranked number one. And so if you're already ranked number one, you're just overspending for something that you've already got. And so spend went up and revenue top line didn't change. And so we're overspending, trying to overreach to capture the market. And then we also explored casting a wide net. So you've got the hyper relevant keywords that you're already ranking for, very relevant to your product. We tried to cast a wider net and go for kind of more generic terms, and also products that kind of similar, comparable products to us that we could then try and siphon traffic off because we're on a cheaper alternative or a higher quality alternative or whatever it may be. And casting that wide net, you have to cast the wide net first to know which ones you can compete with and which ones you can't. It's not an exact formula on that. And so during this year, we did probably overspend to try and find out what that was, to be able to then consolidate and streamline back down into having a more kind of streamlined, competitive advertising campaigns.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense then. Now, can you tell us a little bit about how you're getting your inventory from your suppliers in China to Amazon's warehouses? Do you use a 3PL service or do you go direct from manufacturer to Amazon themselves?
So it comes sourced in China. Like I said, the COGS are so cheap that kind of ordered like twice a year in bulk. Helps somewhat with pricing, but largely speaking, it just helps operationally that you don't have to put constant orders in, and cash flow isn't a worry because these COGS are so cheap. So ordering kind of twice a year. It then comes into the UK in the southwest. We've got a small fulfillment storage centre there that we own, essentially a mini warehouse of ours, where it's then shipped from there into the Amazon fulfillment centres in the UK, North America, Europe. There's no fulfillment requirements. This isn't a necessary step in order to go via that route, but that's currently the way we do it. But it could just go straight from China into the fulfillment centres if need be.
Well, it's really interesting to see that you already have that kind of established and things are optimized on that front. Now, can you tell us a little bit more, like what is the typical work that you're doing on the business at this time on a weekly basis?
So I think a lot of the kind of concentration of time in the last 6 months has been this process of streamlining the ads, finding out which of those, when you casted the wide net, where did you find gold, as it were? So it's been an ongoing process to get to the most streamlined and efficient outcome as we can. A lot of it's been on the front end. So actually the consumer experience with imagery, A+, rolling out videos for advertising and really kind of building up the brand that way. And then a big part of it has been in the EU. That has been our kind of markets of focus, making sure we've got native language translators. We've done SEO keyword research, market specific in each market, and then translated it back to English, written the copy, and then got it translated by native language speakers, and making sure we had all the kind of structural elements that go with it that enable us to be able to sell into the EU. And right now, quite a lot of sellers have no longer selling in the EU. They can't get the imagery and whatever it may be. We've just made sure that whatever happens, we're in the EU, everything's compliant, all the infrastructure's in place. And that's exactly the position we've now got ourselves into.
Got it. Now, say, for an interested buyer that's looking at your business, is there any particular skill set or core skill set that they should already have prior to taking over this business? Or do you feel that this is something that they can learn within the transition period?
I think it largely depends on what the buyers are. That if the buyer is looking for a low-touch, profitable income stream, so kind of passive income to come through, then there's very minimal skill sets required, very low-touch. The inventory supply chain is very straightforward, and the Amazon component of it largely runs itself. And so, as it is, almost nothing, no experience, prior experience would be required to come in, and they could just have this passive income stream. If they're looking to take the business and continue to kind of pursue more aggressive growth pursuits, then I would say an idea in launching a market and some advertising background for the US in order to pursue that market there. But in particular, I'd say ideas around new products. That it's in the beauty category. If you've got an idea of products that you want to launch around it, this is your kind of anchor that you'd launch products around. And so if you're looking to grow and build out a brand, I think that's your kind of key skill set that would be required in order to grow this.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, on the flip side of that, what do you feel are maybe some of the potential risks that a buyer should be aware of prior to taking over this business?
necessarily a risk, but something that needs to be addressed is the idea of this consumer information that goes with it. And so, let's say thousands of reviews, but can sit in just above 4 stars. And the whole rationale for that drop in reviews is the fact that we haven't had the corresponding information go with it. And so I think one thing that needs to be addressed is the ebook that goes for sale, which is clean and simple and clarified, but also potentially looking at putting an insert with the product sale as well that really clearly lays out how the product should be used. And I think that way you can go from 4-star to 4.5, back to 5-star, and work your way back up that. Because as I say, the product quality is there, the customer feedback's there, except for people that aren't aware how to use it properly. So I think that's probably one thing that needs to be addressed within the business.
Yeah, that's pretty average as far as most, Amazon FBA business products, I guess, within this niche, especially when it becomes, very information dependent, making sure that you're getting that information to your customer and building up that trust as well, too. Now, moving forward after the asset, are you, Sam and Alexander, are you both willing to commit to a non-compete, meaning you'll stay out of this specific niche moving forward?
We'd have to probably review that as when it came and what the details look like. But the general premise, we want to be as helpful to the buyer as we can be. And then structures that we will, asset sales, equity sales, however they want to acquire the brand, the company, the assets, we'll be as helpful as we can be.
Okay.
And so creative ideas will come that way. We're all ears.
Perfect. And then how much support are you willing to offer potential buyers? Are you going with the typical 30 days of email and Skype support, or did you have something in addition that you would like to add on to that?
Again, just to kind of reiterate that point, happy to do the 30 days, happy to have any calls, and kind of beyond that as well. It's kind of the brand we've been building for a while. So anytime someone wants some advice or guidance on that, more than happy to in any way, shape we can.
Yeah, it's always great to hear that you're willing to help that potential buyer and through the process and the transition process as well. Now, are you both open to negotiating something like an earnout where you'll receive a large portion of the sales price up front and then smaller payments closing out the deal a couple months after that?
Yeah, again, we're kind of open to whatever creative idea comes our way. But with that, the devil's in the detail, really. Is it an earnout period on growth elements, an earnout period just full stop? Is it on net profits at SDE? So I think, again, if an offer is attractive and works for both parties, we're all ears, but the devil's in the detail with what that actually would look like.
Yeah, that's great to hear that at least something that you would be open to. And again, this can always be discussed during the negotiation period as well to make sure that both parties are happy with it. Now, just a few sideline questions for you. Was there any software or tools that really helped you at the start of running this business?
Played around with different softwares. I think one of the key ones, really Helium 10, like a Cerebro tool, that kind of reverse engineer what keywords, what market volumes have you got, especially if you want to be able to do it market specific for every market you're in. Found that very helpful. Managed by Stats was used for a period of time. As any kind of sellers listening into this can appreciate, Amazon's back-end interface is rather archaic, and actually just ascertaining the true profitability on it requires reports pulled left, right and centre. So we kind of use that as an interim solution. It's going to give us the headlines there until we found and came up with our own model to run effective P&Ls. But yeah, I think we sporadically use various different tools over time. And there's lots of different softwares out there that help. Helium 10 is probably the one that's front and center for us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that we do hear quite often from a lot of Amazon FBA business owners as well as a great tool and something very useful, especially as you mentioned, when it comes to niche specific information. Now, why do you think that this business model, Amazon FBA specifically, is great for those who are interested in just getting started in online business?
I'd probably say two parts of it just still kind of baffle me, and I've been in this world for some time now, is that the scale of it, the ability for people to make a lot of money very quickly is remarkable. And I think there might be a kind of general idea in the wider public that this thing on the internet, people do things on the internet, selling things on the internet. And I think actually one thing, if I'm ever having a conversation with people, I do just say, if you want to have a conversation about what is Amazon, how does it work, just so we have context on this, just log on to Empire Flippers and have a look through some of the listings on there. Just look at the scale of the figures that are out there, businesses that are being valued. And then you have the framework to have the conversation with context. I think one thing is just the scale of it and the ability to make a lot of money very quickly. And the second part of it's the international nature of it. I'm sat here in London calling you in Brazil, talking about a company registered in the UK that acquires goods from China, ships it halfway around the world to the UK, and then we sell to customers in Canada. And all of that with me sat behind my Mac. It is still quite remarkable just how this kind of new digital age has the international component to it, allowing you to scale at speed with very low cost capital investment, and also just the scale of depth of how large some of these internet Amazon FBA businesses in particular can get to. It still kind of to this day never ceases to amaze me on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you on that. And, it's a crazy world we live in now, the digital age. But yeah, again, I wouldn't trade it for anything as well. I'm sure you and Alexander feel the same. So just last final question for you, wrapping this up. Now, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you feel that this business is worth buying?
Profitability. So the main one, profitability and consistency. That this is your foundation to be able to scale from. You've got that kind of month-to-month profitability income at a very low touch with a well-established product, ranked number one, Amazon's choice in the markets it's in. And you've got the US potential, as well as the potential to use this as your profit cash cow. It's not cash hungry, doesn't require frequent reorders, and allow you to then build out a range off the back of, carry that brand through, and then be able to add 2, 3, 4, 5 new products to the range. And then you've got yourself a beauty brand within a very kind of high demand specific sub niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially apparent, even looking at the traffic numbers and the revenue numbers throughout the time that we have gained, these data, it's really great potential. And I'm sure any potential buyers that are looking at this listing can also see the scalability as well as far as the foundation you've both built in this business. And that pretty much wraps up this call. Was there anything else that you both would like to add in that I might have missed?
I think all great on my side.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, Sam and Alexander, for coming on the call today. It was really great talking to you about this business, where you guys got your start in with, and I'm sure we'll be getting this listing sold for you here in the next few weeks.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. Appreciate the time.
Yep. Thank you both. And all right, everyone. So thanks for listening. To learn more and to see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 50156. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.